My Bloody Podcast.
Oh my God, here we are with the legendary, the intercontinental champion of cinema,
Oh my
Lin Shaye. Welcome to the show. How are
Thank
you?
you. What an intro. Let's do that for another 10 minutes.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited. Let's start off. We're gonna get into some fun into your new movie. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about it first. You've been in close to 277 features.
Is that
And
right?
you it's crazy, right? That's
I've never
crazy, right?
counted, so that's crazy.
You've built a career out of characters who feel like they've lived entire life before we meet them. So what's your way into a role? Do you start with the psychology, the physicality, the voice, or is it something more mysterious?
It's all those things. I mean, really and truly, I never know where the answer is going to be. And it starts genuinely with a script. You have this material, and I sort of got into a habit. I never start reading without a pencil in my hand because sometimes the ideas or thoughts or colors or wardrobe or something that catches your imagination as you're reading it for the first time becomes very important, and you won't remember it. You think you will, but at least I don't. I go like, what was that thing? I can't remember what it was. So I begin kind of early trying to um, let the story wash over me a little bit and see what it makes me think. And I, I, I never know the answers, and so I'm always scared a little bit, really scared to death. As a matter of fact, you should pardon the expression. That's the movie we're going to be talking about, but uh, because I never know, I'm always worried I'm not going to have the answer, and that anxiety actually feeds my creativity on some level, because it makes your blood pressure go higher, I think, and you automatically your whole cellular system is on go, and thinking, and it kind of ignites ideas. And the most important thing for me always is seriously jotting down the dumbest idea I think of, which ends up being maybe a key to the character. And it's a very interesting process. It's never quite the same. I approach it sort of the same, but it's never the same. And the things that surprise me the most are usually the ones I think I'm going to discard, which is kind of interesting also, that we judge ourselves before we have a chance to see what the result is. That's a very important thing to remember, I
I
think, in general.
No, I love
So
that. And I like you saying like the adrenaline keeps you going. I love that.
it does. I mean, it's even right now. I mean, these are wonderful interviews because they make me remember things and get happy about things that I experienced. So it's fascinating. It's always the same, but always different. And I this little movie that we did, which is a wonderful experience for me. It was a wonderful character to play, and Max sort of evolved as we got into the material. So.
Yeah. I love that. And this is Preston Barta, by the way.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Oh, hi, nice to meet you too, Preston. Nice to
Yeah, of
meet you.
course. Well, speaking of remembering things, with your character, Max, I love when we're introduced to her. She has that line about speaking at the back of your throat. And I'm just curious, what have been some of the most interesting notes of direction you've gotten over the years, whether it's good or bad or just memorable?
Oh gosh, I I'm not sure I can answer the question totally, but if the director gives you an aha moment that you are really happy to have, it's very exciting. Something because everybody works a little bit differently, and depending on how the scene is going, and if you have rehearsal, if you don't have rehearsal, I mean, everybody works a little bit differently. I'm sort of on the fence about, you don't want to do too much rehearsal because you don't want to get into line readings that aren't connected then to the way you're feeling at the moment, which is a real actor thing. I mean, you want to have it be real at the moment. But I don't think there's it. I think that the material kind of unfolds itself a little bit.
Hmm.
And if you're working like that, the one thing I would talk about back of your throat when I was talking to him, that was improvised, like the way you tell him.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was a
I
good
got
line.
in there. I mean, it was, the Grog was a very fun character. And Kurt is a very interesting guy. Um, he brought a lot to it, and he was fun to play with. Like, I don't like your boots. I mean, we got into a whole thing about it because he's Mr. Macho Man, in the characterization. So a lot of it is it really it sort of writes itself in some regard, even if you except for probably Shakespeare, who you just want to say what he tells you to say, and there's no improv, because it's a whole different kind of experience. But theater, and film as we seem to have it working today, leaves room for inspiration at the moment, and and it's so much fun, especially if you've got a good team player. You're working with actors who are a little bit like you in that way. You're ready to try things. And Bill Moseley was wonderful. I've worked with him before, and we have a wonderful time together, and that was really fun. And Jasper, um, our lead, Oliver Paris. I was trying to remember his full name. He was wonderful to work with, also. Open and communicative. So it's sort of always the same things, that you have the same equipment around you, so to speak, but it evolves differently depending on how you fit together with the other actor, and how much you're willing to give and take, I think, becomes very important. It's a really magical experience, and can be very frustrating, but can also just be elating. I mean, it's
Right.
got the agony and the ecstasy, literally.
Yeah. Would you like to be directed by your character, or do you? I'm probably
Ooh.
not to the degree that she is, but she has a particular vision, and or do
She
you? What do
got
you?
stuff done.
Yes, she did.
I would talk back to her. Don't talk to me like that. I don't know. I'd probably get into a fight with her.
Yeah.
That's so good. I love that. And with this movie, horror asks the actors to believe in the unbelievable. What's the trick to grounding a scene where like the séance is happening, the people are possessed, and the terror has to feel deeply human? How do you do that?
You have to pretend.
That's as simple as that.
It really is, in a weird way. It is as simple as that. You just have to imagine that that's what's happening. But isn't that what acting is, period,
Yeah.
really? That um, I mean, it goes back to, really, I think, when I was a little kid, and I remember being alone in my room and making up stories with my stuffed animals and acting out all the parts. I mean, there's something that's in all children, I think, that you're able to be a little bit of everything. If you're given at least the support of, you don't have to only be, if you're depending on your parents, and of course, stuff like that. But um, I think, it's magic. It's endless. It's totally open. You've got a framework, which is the material, which is the story and the script and the character. So you've
Yeah.
got all these parts that sort of give you a peripheral, so what you have to operate within. But within that, you find all these different textures and stuff, and then again, it's compounded by working with other actors who are thinking also about what they want from you. It's the biggest question I ever took away from acting class is, what do you want from the other person? And
Okay.
I still ask myself that every time I start to work on something. What do I want here? And it's different for everybody. It's different for every character. It's different, what you need. And needless to say, I love the process. I
Yeah.
really do. And this was a good one. I
Yeah.
mean, this was wonderful.
Yeah, it's obvious on screen. And you've been in the funniest movie of all time. You've been in the scariest movies of all time. What's harder to calibrate, a scream or a punchline?
Ooh. It's, I don't know. It depends. I mean, they both can be difficult, and they both can be easy. Like the line just flies out because it's coming from the journey. The hard part is to tack on stuff that really has nowhere, that doesn't really, I hate to use the word organic, but it's not organic. You have to tack on a thing. And sometimes you just have to do it. And in the editing room, there's a whole nother process, because they'll take whatever you did and they'll pick what they want to create the character. And that can be very frustrating some of the time because it's often to say my best work was on the floor, on the and sometimes it is because that's not the scene, the direct building.
Yeah,
So it's give and take.
I
And
love
I
that.
think it and every picture you're drawing is going to be a little bit different. You can't don't get too hung up on one thing because there's a thing coming that's going to go that, whap it out, and then you have to start over again. So you have to really be fluid and open.
Okay.
I wanted to walk you through my thought process when I was watching the film. There's a scene where you call a driver an a-hole and you step out while smoking a cigarette. And I immediately got excited because I feel that you are one of the few actors who brings cinematic electricity to smoking scenes. So I saw that and got excited, but then there's the addition to it, which is you spitting in your hand and burning the cigarette out in your hand, which, if I'm not mistaken, that might be a nod to Kingpin.
Well, it wasn't it was just I didn't think of that actually. Although, did I do that in Kingpin too?
You sure did.
I think I did. I think you're right. But I actually picked that thought because it's sort of self-abuse.
Yeah,
Uh, there's something about that hurting yourself. It's really, I mean, people take that to all kinds of extents. We know on some levels. So that was really my intention, I think, is to show that she thought she was tough, but it also hurts, a little bit to what she's doing to herself. Um, and sometimes I don't know where I get ideas from, really, or I don't premeditate too many things, even when I know the scene that I'm going into, because
mhm,
it's the other stuff that happens that really, I hate to use the word, but it's magic. If you come in too holding on too tight, you don't room for something else to arrive. You're kind of strangling things, and that's hard to do because you want to be sure about what you're doing, and it's a real sort of conflict of interest in a way. I want to make sure I get it right, but I have to also leave room for it to be wrong so I can get something that's really right. So
right.
it's scary.
Yeah.
you, you hope, you
So
hope you
did
get
you
it.
really do it in
What?
either film? Like
But
burn a
oh
cigarette out in
oh
your hand?
oh, I did. I spit on it. It went out because I spit. But yeah, I really put it out in my hand. Yeah, I really did.
It's such a
But it,
cool scene. It's a cool thing.
and I mean, but I didn't burn myself because if you spit, that's the whole idea, is it
It's
doesn't
got to
burn.
burn a little. I mean,
I, there,
No
no,
scars.
no
no
feeling in the
scars.
hand. Yeah. Yeah. I have to quickly say that I have you to thank for going to the principal's office when I was in elementary school because I saw Kingpin at a very young age and I did a certain gesture that is in that film before I even knew what it meant.
They threw you out of class.
Oh, yeah, I got sent to the principal's office and then my dad had to explain to me what that meant.
Uh, I'm
So
not even
thank
sure.
you.
I'm not even sure Mrs. Dumars what it meant. She just thought it was like sticking her tongue out at somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I didn't know that thing, Preston. That's amazing.
Yep.
That is amazing. Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. Leave it to Len. Since this movie, has this séance, if we were to conduct a séance right now, strictly hypothetical, what question would you want to ask the other side?
Oi, 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 oi. Oi, oi, oi. Where's my Jewish grandmother? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, there we go. Absolutely. That's what I would ask.
I mean, yeah, where are all those souls? I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many questions, I guess, about, and we'll never know the answers. Apparently, if we don't have them yet, we probably are never going to have them. And I think it's by design. We're not. It's like that's you're not supposed to know all the answers. We think we're very clever, but
Yeah, well, in your work with horror and, in all of these movies that deal with the afterlife and otherworldly beings, has there ever been like a person on set who was actually a medium or anything that you got to talk with and see their side?
not really. I've actually never really done much of that.
Okay.
I sort of believe in it, but I believe you can also find your own answers, that you don't need someone else to channel something. Um, I believe we all have, quote, that ability. If there is that ability, we all have the quality to have it. And sometimes it's just answering you answer your own question. You don't need anyone else to tell you the answer. That if we often, you find when you investigate that you discover you know the answer yourself. You don't have to ask somebody else, which is very comforting when you think about it. You know, you don't, you have your own answers.
I love that. It's a good answer. And w without spoiling anything, what's one of the most delightfully unhinged moment in this movie that made you think, "Oh, this is going to ruin someone's sleep"?
I think it had to do with with that head, with
That,
Bill Moseley's. That because I thought the movie really took a turn there. I
yeah.
mean, and that it was kind of funny, kind of interesting. The séance was sort of interesting because what's going to happen now? But there was a turn that happens when the visitations really start happening, and also the special effects guys. That head, I could not look at it even on set. Near me. I mean, it was something so gruesomely uh, articulate is the right word, I guess. So those moments, and even when I watch the movie, I have that moment where it's like, I don't really want to see that right now, but I have to look. What is it again? Play it
Uh,
back. Yeah.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you.
I guess I want to ask about, since there's that scene in the film where they all talk in a circle and they're kind of talking about their experience with horror thus far. Some of them, it's their first time. And I feel like horror has been such a fruitful launch pad for so many people's careers, yours as well, Johnny Depp. And so I'm just curious, like, what makes horror such a fruitful launch pad, and what has made horror, I guess, like, what has the experience for you over the past 40 plus years looking at the evolution of horror from beginning of your career to now with Scared to Death?
Oh boy, those are a lot of big questions. I think I think horror has changed a little bit. I mean, I actually am not a fan of gruesome, which is different,
Hmm.
which is horror. I mean, for sure. But that takes me out of the real horror. That just makes me like, I don't want to look at that. It kind of pushes me away from the story even a little bit, and doesn't enhance my experience watching the movie. That's just me. I mean, other people love it, or love to see it bloodier and gory or whatever.
Hmm.
But I think to use the word insidious, there's ways of scaring people, and making them think about things that they don't usually think about, that I think is far more horrific.
Hmm.
And that interests me, because how do you protect yourself from that? How do you protect yourself from that? Or is there a way, do you have to confront it? Do you have to numb yourself to some part of horror? Which, when we look at our society, I mean, you look at what's changed. I mean, people watch the most horrific, real stuff, and it's just like, no real reaction, that we've sort of numbed ourselves on some level. And I mean, I think that's a big discussion about what we're confronted with on a daily basis,
Right.
that's worse than it used to be, or a different kind of horror than we hope we ever see. So I think fear is a universal thing. I mean, we all know, and there's something exciting about going to the movies, where you're safe and experiencing something really scary together with a whole bunch of people. I think that the communal experience of fear is, I think, far more fun than seeing something horrible and by yourself, and you have to confront it all alone and let it simmer in your head for a long time. So listen, it's not going away, and I think people will make scary movies forever and ever, and there are different levels of scariness, to it. There's gruesome, there's that sort of insidious kind of fear that lingers, that you think about. Those are the scariest parts for me, things that have happened in my life that I want to forget, but I don't forget. And that's kind of what even entertainment can do to you. You see it and you go, "Oh, I don't really want to remember that." what's the first thing you dream about next night, is something. So we all have to protect ourselves, and we have to be comfortable in a community to experience horror together and have fun. Have
Right.
fun with it. Like in Scared to Death, which is opening Friday, March 13th. March is it? Yes, Friday, March the 13th at a theater near you. And everybody should go and be scared to death. It's fun and it's really scary.
Hell yeah. Lin Shaye, everybody. And I believe that's a Friday the 13th too.
Friday
So
the third.
it's
Yeah, it is Friday the 13th. You're 100%.
double horror, double scary. Lin Shaye, the person that can scare you to death and make you laugh to death. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank
And
you so much. What a wonderful interview. I appreciate it.
Thank you
sure.
so
Thank
much.
you.